What's up, guys? It's the Cheapster here, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about credit cards and if they're evil or not. So there's a lot of talk in the debt-free communities right now, especially the people who are trying to be financially responsible, that credit cards are just bad for you, that they're just not a good thing to have. Dave Ramsey is kind of one of those people that kind of leads the charge, I'd say, on credit cards not being good for you. So I just want to talk a little bit about that, and basically, I think what I would say on the topic is credit cards are going to depend on your personality and your type of budgeting and your responsibility that you have with your money, because that's really going to matter if you can handle having a credit card or if you can't. So if you're somebody in the past that you've carried high balances, or if you currently have high balances on credit cards, that's a red flag right there. You should not have credit cards. You should deal with paying off those credit cards, and you should get rid of them, because it probably just means that you're not responsible right now with those credit cards, and maybe it's just not a good thing for you to have them in the long run, so you should just get rid of them and not even have them. But for people who actually do budget, especially if you're a person who budgets every dollar you make, for me, I budget every penny I make. So if you budget everything you make down to the pennies to make sure that you're keeping track of it, that kind of changes some things, because that can mean that you don't actually keep track of what's in your bank account or what's on your credit card. So that can help a lot for that. Also, I know the Dave Ramsey method kind of talks not even so much about credit cards, but just about plastic in general, paying with plastic. He kind of recommends paying with cash, so he has the whole cash envelope system. And maybe, yeah, if you are somebody who has a problem with credit cards, maybe it's not just a problem with you just carrying debt. So maybe it's beyond that. Maybe it's when you're buying things, you're not really thinking through your purchases, and you're just kind of buying because you're swiping plastic and it really doesn't mean much. So if that's kind of the problem you have, then maybe you don't even want to have a debit card. Maybe you just want to have cash. But if you're not that kind of person, if you're somebody who actually budgets and tries to keep track of their money, who has financial responsibility, I think this is where I really disagree with Dave Ramsey. There's a lot that I agree with Dave Ramsey on, but I definitely disagree with his credit cards, the way he acts towards people. Because I think there's times when having a credit card is a good thing. I know my budget system is that I budget everything down to the penny, and that means that I don't even look at my bank account balance or my credit card balance, because all I do is I just put the things on my credit card. But as soon as I put them on my credit card, it manually goes into my budget, not after I pay the credit card, but once I've made the purchase. So to me, it doesn't matter if I have a credit limit that's really high or whatever, because it doesn't matter. I just pay off my credit card as the balance gains onto the balance. I just pay it off right away. So it doesn't really matter for me. And if you're somebody who budgets like that, I've never carried a balance at all. There would never be a reason that I would, because I budget like that and I don't go over my budget. So there's no reason not to have a credit card if you're in that position, because you get the cash back, and some of these cards are pretty good. There's a lot of cards that maybe they even offer like 5% cash back in a certain category. Maybe you spend a lot in that category. I know I have cards that give me 2% cash back. I have two different cards that give me cash back. One's for gas and one is for restaurants. So I use them interchangeably depending upon what I'm buying. And it might seem like that's not that much, but as you buy things throughout the year, that cash back really does add up, and it's just extra money that you can have. Maybe you can take a trip with it, or maybe you can use it for a purchase around the house that you want, or whatever it is. So I think it's really good to have that kind of stuff, but you really do have to start make sure that you are somebody who is responsible, because you don't want to be a person who's like getting a credit card thinking, oh, I'm going to have all this cash back. If you're thinking, especially if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to use the cash back to help pay off my purchases, that is very, very bad way to think about it. Don't think about it like that. Cash back should always be a bonus, just extra money you get. You should always have the money before you put it on your credit card in the first place. But in the end, I think it's all just about being honest with yourself, because nobody's going to make you do anything unless you have terrible credit and the credit card company won't give you a credit card. That could happen, but nobody's going to force you to not have a credit card or have a credit card. It's your decision, so you have to decide yourself. Do you think having a credit card is going to be good for you, or do you think it's going to be bad for you? So just kind of look at your habits, see how you use your money in the past. Do you overspend? Does plastic make you spend more? And maybe if those things are true, then don't get a credit card, because that's just not going to be good for you. And the extra cash back just isn't going to be worth it, especially if you're carrying a balance, because a balance will wipe that cash back out in no time. A lot of credit cards have 20% interest rates, maybe even more than that. So that'll go away so quickly. You'll be losing more money than you are gaining in the cash back. So just be honest with yourself. If it's something you think you can have, then go ahead and get it. And if you notice that, you're having issues with it, then stop it. Pay off the balance and get rid of the credit card. Cut it up. The whole classic cutting the credit card up with the scissors. Just cut it up. But the answer is no, credit cards are not evil. Obviously, they're credit cards. It's a piece of plastic, can't be evil. So it's going to depend on how you're going to be with that credit card. So I say no, they're not evil, and they can actually be a really useful tool to help you gain things. I know there's even programs where you can get miles to take trips and things, and yeah, there's just so many different things you can do with them. But the other thing I would say is you want to make sure that you don't get too crazy with it. Like I said, I have 2 credit cards, and there are more credit cards I could have to get better cash back. And I've thought maybe of opening up another one, maybe having 3, because I think that can be attainable. But you don't want to get crazy. You don't want to have like 15 credit cards. And I know I've seen people that have tons of credit cards, and they even have like sticky notes on them that say, or not sticky notes, but little stickers on them that say what the card should be used for, and they keep it in their wallet. So then they have to keep changing which card they're using for what they're paying, and maybe even the time of the year depends on what credit card they use, and it can get really confusing that way. But I just think you want to keep it simple. You don't really want to get that crazy, because that's just doing a little too much. And that's when you could really get into trouble, where maybe you mismanage something, you forget to pay something, you carry a balance, or you get lose track of how much you're putting on those cards. And I just think it can get out of control pretty quickly there if you're doing that much. So just try to keep it low. Don't try to get too many credit cards, even if you think, oh, I can make more money if I have all these cash backs. And there's so many things today that you can get. I know there's like the Target credit card. I think you get 5% cash back. And that's not bad, but if you already have a bunch of credit cards, maybe it's just not a good idea to go ahead and open up another one. But everything has its own credit card today. I mean, there's Apple credit card now. There's Amazon. I think Uber might even have their own credit card, maybe, I think. But it seems like everything has a credit card. So you want to be careful not to fall into that trap of getting so many credit cards, because obviously the credit card companies want you to do that, because most of the time people are going to carry a balance, and they know that. That's how they make their money. So that's why they advertise it to you. That's why they spend so much money advertising set, because they're going to make it back on people that are going to carry a balance and give them money. So just avoid that. Don't get too many credit cards. But overall, yeah, just check out your options. I know there's websites that you can check into that will help you compare different cash back options and stuff, and different rates of credit cards. But you shouldn't even really be caring about the interest rates of a credit card unless you're carrying a balance and you're trying to get a lower interest rate and you're trying to refinance it kind of in that way, or consolidate it. But you shouldn't really care about it if you don't have debt, because yeah, you should not even be carrying a balance. So I know one of my cards is like 26% interest, but it doesn't matter to me at all because I never carry a balance, so I never see that 26% interest. So that doesn't really matter as long as you're not going to carry a balance, but just make sure you're not going to carry a balance. So that's what I got for you guys today. Credit cards aren't evil. Just make sure that you're being honest with yourself, and make sure that you're actually using it to make yourself money and save yourself money, not to spend more money. That's all that matters here. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, do the cheapest thing you can today, which is to tap that like button, and also subscribe to my channel. I do a video every week. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Stay cheap.